Hello and welcome to the FACEIT show here at FACEIT Towers. FACEIT. I'm joined by Dan as usual. How are you, Dan?
I'm good. I had some Earl Grey tea.
You did?
That means I'm ready.
Have you ever looked up if there was an Earl called Grey?
Likely that there was. Likely.
Maybe.
But I have not looked that up, no.
I just thought of that now. Maybe we should do that later on. But before we do that, we are going to be doing FACEIT North American matches. And just for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I've been mentioning that we bought a lot of cobblestone cases from the DreamHack Major, and we're going to open one for one of our subs after every match today. But let's have a look at the matches we have coming up for you this evening. I believe we have 3 matches today. I'm about to see them flying towards you now. So Cloud9 versus Complexity is going to be the first match on Cash. That's coming up very shortly indeed. Followed by Follow Esports versus Luminosity, and then Luminosity versus Follow Esports. So you can see it's a home and away system here in North America, so the teams on the left are at home. The teams on the right have vetoed 2 maps, the teams on the left have picked from the remaining 5. So Cash, Train and Cobblers coming your way. First map in about 8 to 7 minutes, or 7 to 8 minutes, as people who speak English would normally say.
Well, we're not in the business of that, are we, James? Especially on some of these broadcasts lately, I've been questioning whether this is even my native language. So remains to be seen.
That's true.
We'll see. I
think we can look at the rankings and see how these teams are doing at the moment. See who's heading towards the LAN Finals to join the Animal Squad. And TSM, I believe. So Cloud9 played 6 matches and they've won 5. 3 points ahead of their nearest competitors, Liquid, who have a game in hand. Complexity 2 games behind Liquid, 1 game behind Cloud9 on equal points to Liquid. Again, it's the top 2 who go through.
I mean, the interesting thing here is Luminosity, especially because Luminosity are playing twice today. As you can see, they've only played 3 matches so far. They can definitely get all the way up there because they'll also be playing Follow Esports twice today. And we can note that Follow Esports are able to take down Liquid. So we could get this situation where maybe Cloud9 are going to be a bit more safe than Liquid because they actually believe that they beat Follow Esports, and the versus matchup as far as tiebreaker deciders goes is quite important. But Luminosity, if they're able to just take down Follow Esports, so they can get that edge over Liquid to be one of the top teams to actually go through the qualifier. So that's actually the Luminosity versus Liquid thing is kind of a big deal, I think, at the moment. Obviously, Cloud9 need to keep their streak running. They should be able to do that. But I would be worried if I was Liquid by Luminosity right now.
Indeed. But I'd be worried if I was Cloud9 as well, if I was a Cloud9 supporter, because they haven't been, just in the general scope of Counter-Strike at the moment, they haven't been doing very well. They're not on a positive streak at the moment, so you have to wonder if they will feel a bit shaky going into the first game. But speaking of teams and players, time to do our Alpha Draft picks, Dan, and make our selections for today. So Follow Esports are playing twice, and Luminosity said are playing twice.
Yeah,
I would suggest picking Luminosity as a team, but actually let's go back up to the top, please, Mr. Producer Reese. So they're playing Follow Esports twice. So I guess we either pick Luminosity or Follow Esports as a team. Do you have a preference?
I would say Luminosity for sure, because I do feel like Luminosity are one of the more stable teams in the North American scene. They did so well at the Major as well. The Brazilian lineup, they had such a good run in the Major that, I mean, they beat Fnatic on Inferno. Okay, it was a best of 1, but they showed a really, really close performance to Na'Vi as well. If Guardian wasn't dropping 40 bombs, they go through over Na'Vi in the quarters there. So Luminosity were playing fantastically well. So I'd love to throw more support their way, and they're definitely playing well at the moment. Follow Esports, though, they're a bit of an unknown quantity. We've seen crazy stuff from them, so those 2 matches are going to be really interesting.
Okay, let's pick Cold. Don't need to explain why. He's awesome. Fallen, I would normally go for Fallen straight away, but he has not been performing consistently recently. So maybe we'll come back to him at a later point, maybe later today. Who knows? Your pick, Dan.
I was just going to say, it's pretty sick how expensive Cold is, actually. He's the most expensive player.
It's because they know.
In this lineup. That's kind of crazy.
It's because they know. He's the most expensive player playing today.
So I'm going to take, where is Semphis, actually? Is
Lord Semphis. Pastor Semphis.
Yeah, usually I'm not going to be picking the Semphis, but today I'm feeling it. They've been doing, Complexity been doing very well, and like you said, right now is the time to topple Cloud9, and they have that matchup against Cloud9 to kick things off, so going to throw Semphis in there. He's always fragging the best, I think, overall for Complexity.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, he has to for them to win against a team like Cloud9. I would like to pick a Dren. because his AWPing has improved significantly, and I think he's going to be the man getting the kills. Oh, in fact, Team Liquid not playing today. Producer Reese has told me. Thank you very much, Producer Reese. In fact, then I will pick Shrewd. Get some Tyrone in there.
Interestingly, I mean, we can talk about this a little bit later in more detail, but I saw some interesting comments actually from Thorin in one of the By the Numbers about how he perceives the different roles within the Cloud9 team, because obviously they're a big debate at the moment. But Shroud was one of the players that was not performing well at the major, that's for sure. In fact, I think just generally Cloud9 was struggling.
He's an onliner, mate. He's an onliner.
An onliner, oh dear. Well, I mean, as far as the next pick goes, I'm going to take another person from... Can we afford anyone else from Luminosity? I don't know that we even can. They are incredibly expensive, all of them. So
just do it.
That is, I guess we can. All right, then I guess Producer Reese is going to get his pick. Go on, go for it. Go for it, Producer Reese. Steele actually played quite well at the major as well, despite being one of the lower rated players on the team. He had a really good tournament as well.
In that picture, Peter looks like the white guy who hangs around with loads of black guys, and they respect him because he's crazy. Right? Because he just looks like a psychopath.
Who is there must be that guy in The Wire. Like there must be that character from The Wire.
Oh, we can't. We've spent too much money then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
All right, let's take out Shroud.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
Let's put in Skadonglers.
I mean, you could. I think it'd be better to gamble on another complexity player than get a Cloud9 player at that point.
Okay.
Stick with Semphis.
Okay, so
should be cheaper as well.
Who do you want to get then? Sanks. No, Sanks. I want Sanks.
All right.
Screw you, buddy.
Any reason,
that was my pick.
Any reasoning behind that?
He beasts people, man. He just beasts people like he slept on. He beasts people,
all right,
Dan.
All right.
The thing is, he beasts people in the bedlam when you're focusing on other people.
No
apart from in Inferno, where he just tends to beast people regardless. But we have a lot more money now.
Yeah.
Is it max 3 people per team?
Yeah.
So we could still get. Well, let's just pick someone quickly. Well, we can pick Rocker. We can pick Rocker.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
I'm pretty sure it's Roker, by the way.
No, it's Rocker. We had this discussion last week.
I know, and I forgot to check if someone tweeted me about it but I'm so sure that it's Roker.
Nobody in North America, nobody in America,
I would say Rocker as a Brit, and I know that I was doing it wrong before.
Nobody in the Americas.
Okay, guys, tweet me.
Would say Roker.
Please tweet me. Just tweet me. Let's put this to bed. Tweet me. How are you supposed to pronounce it? Rocker or Roker?
Show me unicorns. I want to guess today's question, which is undoubtedly going to be League of Legends. Who has the Battle Regalia skin? The only name I know there is Oriana, which is a League of Legends person, right?
Well, I don't know anything about League of Legends, so
Oriana, let's go.
I don't know. Producer Reese will know the answer. Do you know the answer? Yeah, he knows. Look at him nodding away there. He's a geek, Dan. Look at that smug grin.
He's a dirty geek. Oriana, it's Oriana all day. Oh, for God's sake. How'd you let me fail? How'd you let me fail, Reese? Look at me. Look how thoroughly he's enjoyed that. His face is almost red. Like he's just had some weird sordid pleasure to watch us fail. Oh dear. Okay, so shall we bet on complexity Cloud9? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's got the most upset potential.
I don't know if we have time to do it. Let's have a look.
That is the most upset potential, I'd say. I mean, the Follow Esports matches are too hard
it's live, right? We need to pick another one.
Right, okay, so one of the other two.
Follow Esports first, Luminosity. I'm going for... We picked Luminosity for our team, so we kind of have to pick them.
Depends on the odds, though. Depends how close the odds are.
All right, let's pick one.
Because we can always make more of a value bets.
Holy crap. Value bets.
All day.
Value bets. Holy potatoes. All day. We're doing the value bet. Is this the second match or the third match, though? Actually, we'll find out later.
The second... Oh, right.
Okay, right. Okay, we're putting in at least 50. This is too good.
Yeah.
This is too good. Oh my god. 75. Yes. Let's do it. The greed, Dan. The greed.
Oh my god.
Okay, get it in there.
Disgusting. Outcome-oriented behavior. Look how much money I could win.
All right, show me the marketplace.
Now I'm excited.
Show me the marketplace. Okay, there's a gaming chair. No, thank you. There's a PSU. No, thank you. We entered this, but Phil from Germany won it. Philip from Germany. Screw you, buddy. So we're still waiting for this big white case to come on. So was that American?
It's never going to arrive.
Well, I hope it does, because I wanted to win it. Oh my god, if we get an upset today in the second match, I'm going to be very biased and excited, Dan. I don't care. Because there are unicoins to win. Can you imagine winning 300 of them? Like, it's like 332 or something. That's absurd. I'm excited, Dan.
All right.
I'm excited because we've made a very foolish bet. All right, so I think we have some player highlights to run through quickly. The first of which, if I'm not mistaken, as picked by producer Reese, no less. Just realised that I'm not wearing my watch, Dan. It's over there somewhere. Is Peter. Would you like to talk about Peter, Dan?
Well, Peter, I mean, I think people began to like realize who Peter actually was as a player when they saw him playing for CLG back at MLG Aspen so long ago. I think that was my first big tournament casting, actually, as a main caster. And it was late January of this year. And he went absolutely nuts and showed that he was incredibly explosive.
You went ham sandwiches, Dan.
Clutch AWP player, as you can see here. And that's kind of what you expect to see Peter deliver on. When he's actually hitting and connecting, getting the confidence rolling, because he's a very emotional player. When he's actually getting the good situations and hitting all the shots, that he just gets hotter and hotter and hotter until he's just killing everyone, just taking crazier risks. Very explosive player, and he's very fun to watch when he's on. But when he's off, James,
he's off. Well,
that's not good.
We last week we saw him doing some really excellent frags there. Again, you saw those were some older frags, but I mean last week he was doing some superb stuff. He really was.
Yeah, he wasn't missing anything. It was actually ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's basically impossible.
It
versus him.
Yeah, that's why I was quite willing to get those coins on to follow esports, because if he continues that kind of consistency, then who knows what can happen. Again, Fallen has fallen off as of late with the, like if you look at the major and so on, some of the other boys were up there holding things down, but Fallen wasn't. We were not seeing the strong performances we're used to seeing. So if Peter can dominate the AWP match, then who knows? They're still cold to stop, but there's an air of uncertainty here. We have a second player highlight, producer Reese. Who is the second player highlight? If you'd like to let me know.
It's cold.
It is cold, no less. Well, Dan, tell us about this man.
Well, Cole's interesting as well because he's considered to be one of the best players in Brazil for sure, and of course, he's playing with Luminosity and they're living in North America and competing there. They made that move. So under the leadership of Fallen, he's brought in, replacing ZQKS, I believe is how you say his name. And at the major, Cole reinvigorated him. This is something that Fallen said in an interview recently. So that already is a very good sign that you have good chemistry with this guy as a team, but he's absolutely beast as well. He's always dropping huge numbers for the team. Very rounded player. So you can see why we selected him for the highlight. And if he's delivering today, then it's going to be pretty difficult. In fact, if both Cole, Fallen, and Peter, these players are delivering, it's going to be actually a pretty awesome series of matches that are very highly unpredictable, I would say.
Yeah, he is pretty strong. So, I mean, in Brazil, Cold is considered the best player. Full stop, hands down.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe he'll become like the Shocks of that region, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's just the well-roundedness to it. Like he can pick up the AWP, he can do any kind of craziness with the rifles. Has all the clutch potential as well. So yeah, very impressive player indeed. Yeah.
Still a bit under the radar though. I think it was at the major. Some of the focus on the analyst desk was still on Fur. But I mean, Cold, obviously being in the FACEIT League and so on, and getting to see all these North American matches, we could see the power of Cold. Like he's just putting up, as Dan said, absolutely insane numbers. So while we have a bit of time, producer Reese, maybe you'd like to display the inventory so people can see what we have to give away. I think last week we gave away a knife in North America, which was ironically won by somebody from Denmark. But thank you for staying up and watching these casts. There was a time where Shocks used to stay up and watch all the North American casts as well.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, it was funny when he came up to us and said that at Milan Games Week last year. He's like, I stay up and watch all of your casts, and we're like, what? Because we'd only been casting together for like a month at that point, and people didn't still even really know who I was. So,
all right. So all of these are going to be given away to subscribers. So from now until the end of the FACEIT League, one after every game. But rather than do raffles after each game, I think we're just going to have an open. Basically, there's no raffle command. People just talk, and then as soon as the game ends, we will open a case, announce the winner, then go to a break, because it's more fun that way. So producers can hopefully activate that immediately, and then just by chatting.
Well, one thing we need to talk about is what's going to happen in this game, because this opening game is potentially going to be ridiculous.
Yes.
Because you got a Cloud9 that's weakened, a Cloud9 where potentially they're soul searching at the moment, figuring out, okay, are the roles that we're even playing at this point working? Because they went into a major just very recently, didn't work. It did not work for them whatsoever. They struggled against Luminosity. In fact, they lost against Luminosity, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on Dust 2, and just generally struggled, just in every single sense. The players that were supposed to deliver, like the star players, were not being star players. They weren't hitting the kind of the fragging abilities that you would expect. We weren't seeing, Skadul enabled as an AWPer. We weren't seeing necessarily, Shroud going crazy in the mid rounds, being opened up by Freakazoid. All this kind of stuff. A lot of the default rounds seemed a little bit shaky as well. The coordination not quite on point. It wasn't the same Cloud9 that we saw making multiple finals runs in like very high level European events, basically back to back. Because they did that. They beat Fnatic. They were beating Envious, and I think TSM was a stopping point for them. But generally they were from hero to zero, basically. That's what's happened.
Well, that's the thing, there was a dramatic change in Cloud9 at that point, and that becomes a honeymoon period where the teams still have to find out how to adjust to the new Cloud9, etc. So they have a lot of surprise, the element of surprise to their advantage in that respect. And then, like once the dust settles and people are all used to each other again, then things you truly find where things are. I think that time has also passed, and now they are in a bit of a slump. I did watch the match against Luminosity. Now you reminded me of it on Dust 2, and again they had the Hounds of Justice, Shroud and Freakazoid just charging down mid, charging up long, and so on. And they were just getting up there really fast, but they just weren't getting the kills. I remember one specifically. I think it might have been Freakazoid just bombing it all the way down mid through double doors. And I don't recall who exactly the player was who was in CT at the time. So he weren't really.
I remember Cold was always playing around the mid and the double doors.
I wanted to say Cold, yeah.
Yeah.
But like they weren't catching Luminosity.
I think he dropped like a 35 bomb in that game or something.
They weren't catching Luminosity in isolation when they were pushing those doors, because often you'll find somebody caught unawares or maybe on a slope or something. But he was like literally in CT spawn, like he hadn't even moved out, and. Just well positioned to not get caught in isolation.
They didn't run a single default round either. There was not one. I remember watching. It's like, are they going to do it now? They're going to do it now. There wasn't one. Which, I mean, maybe that's okay, but that strikes me as you're trying to play too heavily, specifically against the opponent, which can kind of screw you over.
For the sake of people at home, what would you define as a default round on T side of Dust 2?
So this applies default round. This applies to all maps. It's basically, whereas on the T side you get as much map control as you can get, which is not going to be contested, or you're not going to put yourself in very unfavorable positions to contest it. So basically on Dust 2, it's like you take upper dark, you take middle, you take catwalk, and you take your side of the longhouse. So you get all the map control. You've got players everywhere, so they're all gathering information, and then potentially they can try to make picking base plays off of that, and then you play the mid round based on whether you got a kill and what information you got, what you've seen from their setup. So, and you'll see teams these days on Dust 2, they'll extend this a little bit by actually pop flashing someone into the double doors just through towards CT a little bit, just to see if there's someone playing close to the doors, so that no one's listening if you're running up catwalk, or to just see if there's a guy in CT, because that tells you then how the CTs are playing, and then you can make a more informed decision. But there was none of that, basically. It always looked like they were doing blind rounds, more or less, where they're just saying, we're going to play the meta, we're going to play our knowledge about the team, playing outside of in the meta, basically, outside of in-game knowledge to make our decisions. Yeah,
so basically going for hard counters on what they've seen in previous matches.
That's what it felt like, yeah.
As opposed to the information game within the match itself.
Again, it'd be great to sit down with Sean Gaz or something and see, okay, this match, what were you thinking, what was it? Because I'm sure there's justifications there, but it can be a bit worrying when you see, because if with no default, it looks like they just try to hard counter a team, and that's very risky business.
Well, again, it's Cloud9 coming up first versus Complexity. It's due to start soon. All the players are on the server. Indeed, we are just a few seconds away. GoTV going to catch up with us on that one. So, again, the finals are going to be at DreamHack Winter, which I think is 2 weeks away.
No, really?
Yeah, it is.
Is it 2 weeks away?
It's 2 weeks away.
No.
It is. It's 2 weeks away then.
No.
It's like, I think we did the major, 2 weeks ago?
No.
And now DreamHack Winter is 2 weeks away?
I just came back, James. I just came back home. And now you're shipping me off again.
I love going to DreamHack Winter.
Yeah.
It's weird because when I go, I always bring massive suitcases full of production equipment for the Street